Spring has sprung. It has been a month since we declared spring season, and today I wanted to pick some palettes in my collection that I feel fit the spring theme, springtime. They're airy, they're flowy, they're pastel, and they're just very happy colors, and we're coming into a little bit more happier times. If that sounds interesting, then keep on watching. I did specifically pick out 5 palettes just to keep this pretty short, simple, and to the point, but I do have 2 honorable mentions which will be included at the end. It's some new palettes in here that I've picked that one you have seen, one you haven't seen, and will be coming up a 4-month of my no-buy update, so definitely stay tuned for that. Starting off with the first palette I picked from Unearthly. This is their Sorcerer's Smoke palette. This one very much feels like Cosmic Brushes or Beauties. What is it on? It's their like Undergrowth palette, I think that's what it's called, because this has very similar like softer, grungier, earthy tones, and that's kind of what we're coming up into spring. While spring is for pastels or for flowers blooming or flowers, starting to sprout, or we're starting to garden, and we're very much into the earth part of the season. This one offers some of these like greener tones in here. Then you have some of these more lighter ones. You have an orange, you have a soft with pinky. You do have some more neutrally options of a cool tone like brown and a cool tone sort of like brownish black leaning color. So while this isn't typically very airy, flowy pastel, there is a little bit of softness to it with the green aspect to it to include the springtime, the ground, planting and things like that. And I mean, we do have this name called Herbal and Eucalyptus, so it can represent spring. Palette choice number 2 is going to go to my ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. This one screams spring to me, going into summer. This one very much has the happy coral shades to it and tones. Very much has a lot of happiness and brightness, and you can definitely take this very soft, very bold. You can keep it, very everyday. You can pretty much play around with this in all given directions. You do have 2 pressed glitters, which is a fuss that I'm in that mood or that cycle of life where I'm like, avoid glitters at all costs, so I will probably not be touching those this year. But I definitely love this one, which I believe is one of their Super Shock formulas. This one's called a Side to Side. You do have their Garden Dates, like a shimmer duochrome. Melody's also, I think, a duochrome, but this one definitely is. You can bring it soft, you can bring it mid-tone, you can deepen it, you can just keep a couple of like 1 and dones, 2 and dones, and this one is just so happy and fun. Third choice is definitely themed for another season. This is the Simply Posh Cosmetics Gingerbread Bakery palette. I picked this one up for my birthday, and I am so happy I have it. Like, I love gingerbread, love Christmas. We're not here for that, but I have to say how much I love this palette. Now, while you immediately think gingerbread bakery, you're like Christmas time. I think of the holidays. For me, these tones very much can speak springtime because it is very on the softer side of pigment. These are not very in your face, they're not intense, they're not overly pigmented. Like, you can build them up, you can have a little bit of washy color, you have a lot of choice of pastels with this here, and then these bottom 3. You do have your neutral brown options to create it like every day, where you have a pop of color and a neutral. You have a really good choice of shimmers in here that are not all entirely springy, but you can definitely make them work for the springtime. I've only used this once, and I'm very much impressed. I need to use this more. I'm just excited to use this, and I'm happy that I picked this up for my birthday. You will see this in my 4-month update for my no-buy, so stay tuned. The 4th chosen palette is my Cosmic Beauty or Brushes Muse palette. This one very much also represents the earth, the very more muted, more cottage, more fairy, within a forest with all your greenery and all your sort of like hippie, natural-esque vibes. And this definitely is what I feel represents and speaks to it in terms of color story. You do have a lot of green options, you do have some neutrals, you do have, yellow, pop of pink, some purples, and so you can take this very much light, dark, pastel, everyday, bold, creative. Like, this palette offers so much variation because of the amount of shades are in here. It's, I think, a 30-pan palette. So you can just have so much fun with this one, and the shades definitely are not overly blendable, not overly pigmented either, so you can, slowly build them up. You can keep them softer, you can mix and match and create all sorts of different combinations, and I'm excited to also use this one this coming season. And the last palette I wanted to mention before we get into my honorable mentions, this one is the Glamlight and Michaela Part 1 palette. Now, this one very much is, I think for me, spring into summer can work for both seasons because you do have some of the brighter like purples and blues for the summertime, for like the water and things like that. But then whenever you look at the greens and like these bubblegum pink, the lighter purple, this sort of like minty teal color, a couple of these orangey coral shades, you can definitely keep it on the more lighter, brighter, not lighter, brighter, the more lighter, airy pastel sort of take of a look. You can create a 2-eyed look with the green, with the pink, with the purples. You can very much, soften it. You don't have to go full vibrancy with these shades. And it's just a very fun palette to also just look at and be happy. You can, pull this out and you're going to feel just so much joy using it, because from being in the cold weather and the snow and, all of the blizzards and things that people have to deal with during the winter time, then once spring starts coming, it starts to liven up and you start to feel more you know, just joyous and just so much happiness. So, and I think this palette definitely brings some of that in here as well. My two honorable mentions have to go to my ColourPop monochromatic palettes. These, not specifically, but just I guess any of the monochromatic palettes, because I mean, you could do Blue Moon, you could do Mint to Be, you could do the It's My Pleasure palette, you could do the yellow one, Aha Honey. There's a whole other sort of variation. You could do the coral, the peach one. So while blues I think can be into spring and summer, you do have the more lighter, softer tones to where you can just add just a little bit of wash of blue and, you know, just all over the lid, keep it very soft, or keep it just easy every day. So that one is a good pick for me, or not for me, in my opinion. And the Mint to Be, I mean, this one is just screams, oops, sorry. This one just screams spring to me because of all of these softer mid tones. You can very much keep this light-handed, airy, breezy. It's very just soft. It's not so, they're not neons. They're very subdued in the tones and things like that. So absolutely great option if you have those palettes, if you have some of the other monochromatic palettes from ColourPop. I think those would be also just great options for springtime. And the last honorable mention is the Sigma and Disney Little Mermaid palette. This one, I mean, Little Mermaid to me comes across as very spring, very happy, summery. You know, you think about the water and you're like, I'm so excited to finally get to the pool soon. The weather's starting to let up a little bit more. Days are getting a little bit more warmer. Some days are just perfect weather of the sun and the wind. So you just have that perfect time to dress up your eyes in some of these colors, and they very much spring, summer. So they definitely scream spring, is what I'm trying to say. So, well, you know, if you take away some of these darker shades in this palette, you definitely have some of these more watery, more grassy, more softer, brown, neutral, everyday tones that you can play around with, and you can keep it soft, and you don't have to go to full opacity or anything like that. You can just have fun. So I think while this section of the palette is not really spring, the rest of it, when you look at it, does come across as more of that season. And then of course, once you get into summer, you can definitely incorporate this section of the palette. But yeah, that one is just so good. Absolutely beautiful. Quality on this one is 10 out of 10. Very much impressed. And if Sigma can keep doing this with all of their palettes, I think I would have a whole collection of them. Just saying. So those are all of my picks for spring. Are you excited for spring? Is this your favorite season? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to have a chat with you down there. And as always, have an awesome rest of your day and or week. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye, guys.